And you know, it is very interesting paradox that as you get into masculinity, red pill, these ideas that men have been so suppressed and they're undervalued and whatever. If you get into evolutionary psychology and really the reality of mating and human propagation, basically the fucking species continuing for tens of thousands, millions of years possibly, the selection of the traits that cause the offspring to survive. What traits of men and women cause the offspring to survive? Thousands and thousands of generations of selection of those traits has resulted in what we know as the code of attraction between men and women. Why women choose men and what succeeds ultimately. Now, in modern day, in Western culture, less kids, this and that. So, but it's still the same attraction switches. It's still the same seduction switches. What makes the dynamic work? What gives it that proper energy that makes the man more of a man, the woman more of a woman, and would result in the offspring living better? That's what we're hacking with the code. So, the truth is that the value of a woman is tremendous in nature. It's everything, You want as many women as possible, and you just want as many men as can protect them, because you don't even need that many men to reproduce with them. You just need a few. Ideally, you want the best ones, but you wouldn't even know that unless it was on a big global scale and there's wars, and then the fittest and smartest and the most able to unify in communication tribe, they survive. It's the fittest. But ultimately, if you were farming humans, then you would just need a few males and then enough force guns to protect. And before guns and things like that, then it was just strength of arms. So obviously the biggest, strongest man and maybe the few men that could team together would win. But introduce one man with a spear and he has a chance against 10 guys, literally. It's possible. Much more than just my fists versus 10 pairs of fists. Solo is dope. What's up? So then we come to the current state of affairs, and women getting fake breasts and fake asses and fake lips and fake eyebrows and fake hair removal and fake hair and just fake on the surface. But that's what's triggering everything I want to go for in her, in the beginning anyway. And we find that beauty is common in certain places. Now that's just because for me and IMC Nation, we go places where beauty is common. It's across the board, bro. We go places where there is just so much beautiful women. Now, it gets me to my point. The most beautiful women in America. If you're talking about the most beautiful women in Vegas, it's the most beautiful women in America. And when you're talking the most beautiful women in America, you're talking among the most beautiful women in the world. Take your flavor. If you want someone from Africa, if you want a Chinese woman, or if you want a Ukrainian or something. We got those here, but obviously you go to those places, you probably find the best of that species or whatever. But what is America is a melting pot, and there are certain... And I'm really just speaking on the surface here because I'm about to get deeper with it. But I'm saying that you take your flavor, man. It's among the most beautiful on earth that we get to go and interact with. Top tier, that's what I'm saying. And a lot of them. I'm going to build this for you, Solo, because Solo, you should be here. We got Guerrero here. Solomon just left. Solomon popped. Solomon was just layers of awareness that he wasn't operating from. You, Solo, you are like a 15-year more developed Solomon. I don't even know how old you are. I'm just measuring in evolution terms. Because we do that here. We're in a laboratory that we're accelerating our understanding of the social dynamics so far and so fast because we dialogue about it. Like, Solo, you're out there, you're gaming, but who do you have to talk about your game? Who do you have to reflect your ideas off of? The girls? So you're left in your own head about it, and maybe that's not a problem for you. I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm saying that one man dribbling a basketball and practicing free throws is only going to get so good at basketball, but a team that gets to play together, that can stay together, that has a coach, and the coach is a player too, but he's also coach because he's the greatest that ever lived. It goes without saying. So we get to FaceTime, we get to be in front of, we get to sit next to, we get to keynote with the most beautiful women in the world. It's an echo chamber, but echo chamber also it refers to your ideas just get bounced back to you. that your ideas just get bounced back to you. So an echo chamber doesn't so much evolve. It's a good word, but an echo chamber is where outside ideas are not permissible. But for example, I get. Oh, without a team. Yeah, the echo is in your own noggin. It bounces off of your own head. And so we get warped. It's the same way with me in yoga. I was great at yoga. I was a great athlete, man. And I see it more and more the further away from athletics. I just had such a fucked up mindset, whatever reason, how I was brought up or whatever, that I held myself back so much in athletics. But I was at a D1 university among Olympians and national champions and the most athletic, like wrestlers that, some of the biggest names that have lived. And in Olympic wrestling, American. And, I held myself back. But why was I saying that? Athletics, echo chamber. I translated all that into yoga. I was an intelligent guy. I was using even psychedelics. And so I was having trippy body awareness experiences. Weaned off of that with yoga, but just translated all that psychological mess and all of that physical mess, which ultimately had a lot of scar tissue and damage and things like that. Not too many big injuries, broken bone here, dislocation there, but some people had really bad wrestling injuries. But there's tension and lots of little trauma, man. Shit happens, man. In wrestling, obviously it's combat grappling, and I did it for years at high level, like crashing skulls, and so all of that energy and discipline, obviously the extreme dieting and everything, and I just rolled it over into yoga. And so I got really good at it, and I lacked tremendous confidence in expressing it, but I just kept practicing. And I had a teacher that I learned a little bit from about once or twice a year. And I went that way for about 4 years. And I got really, really good at yoga, but I got warped in certain alignments and my approach to it. So when I found really great teachers that in their humility, their wisdom, and their inability to communicate, possibly was an ingredient there, they would just adjust me physically or do little small things that were so profound to me because I had gone so deep in my yoga process that when somebody can actually help me and calibrate something that I've been working with for thousands of hours now, wrong. I've had wrong alignment, a lot of reps on doing it wrong. The value of that was just, my whole life, really, because I had saved my life with yoga. I had gotten off the drugs. I had cleared up my head. I had become an achiever in the PhD world. I was the best in the world at my subject in, about 500-600 people around the world at that time, graduate students that were in that kind of ecological science that I was doing. And I was the best voted. And I was set to be the protege of, or the successor rather, of my advisor, who was the successor of the founder of this whole thing. I was directly in that lineage. And I was able to clear up my head and get there with yoga. So it was, so adjustments like that. So guys, when you're out there doing it yourself and you're getting good or you're getting success, you just don't see how off code you are. A lot of guys would like to reinvent the wheel. And that may not be you solo. But then there's another school of guys that it's just not worth it to you yet. You got so many things going on that are it's just such a hassle. And man, when is it ever not going to be that, bro? You think it's going to be less busy in the future? What's going to happen is you're either never going to come or it's going to be some devastation in your life that the weight, right now, the heaviness of all your responsibilities outweighs, let me go and calibrate my game, which is your communication, your state of mind, your presentation of yourself, tonality, lust, interest, body language, kino, adjusting in so many intertribal or intra-tribal, like within the tribe, interactions. When you stop being polite and get more real, but you're not being rude, you just know how to frame everything in a way that's constructive, that moves life forward. There's destruction necessary sometimes, but that's where we look to the teacher to show, because he's revealing a level of code and tribal dynamics that succeeds. Don't think, he got multiple relationships before he really had a tribe, but he always had a tribe. He was teaching martial arts. He had his students. He had guys he could call on. He'd back up, people that listen to him. You got to build your tribe. Now the tribe is more able to contribute on the level of game because we got game. So I get to, I'm not even going to talk about this. It's a wonderful thing to date the most beautiful women. And to know that you did it in a way that your group of players is applauding, and that you bring value to the team by conquest, by conquering another beautiful woman. And it's not you discard her, because that's where I'm telling her. I'm at dinner last night with some of the guys and a girl, and I say something about, I forget how it leads to it, but at some point it's, yes, picking up women. Yeah, of course, this is gold, just as a reflection of gold that I get from AZD. This is just me being whatever level of tapped in and relaxed I am now before class. Class is great, everybody. It's daily class. It's 3 hours every day. You'll get a lot out of it, but at the same time, there's a lot of schmucks out there that, advertise their 6-step processes and great transformations. And some of them are ex-students of AZDs, and people wouldn't know. Like, they drop out because they can't handle the heat. Because the heat here is to become the ultimate alpha. It's not to become just a little bit better. And that's the difference between all the other programs with their millions of followers and AZD, who's been the GOAT for the last 15 years, but the following is just whatever it is. But the center core of the following is stronger and more loyal than it ever has been. And month by month, year by year, it gets better and better. And the measurement of that is subtle, because, bro, the labyrinth of the matrix of the collective consciousness is so deep and distracting. Man, you'll get lost in it. That's why you really just got to look at the proof, the success, the 8 or 9, whatever it is, girlfriends right now that are fine, that all know about each other, that even interact in different ways, but not as much as you'd think. Some of them, the more established girls of over 10 years, who are 10s, have businesses that cater just to women. So the other women, like, there's so much, is a whole ecosystem, and that's just the women's side of things, bro. And that's just the girlfriends. There's girls outside of girlfriends. But that's what I'm saying. Like, pickup is great and everything, but I'm a man of value to myself and to the tribe. I have a tribe, a strong tribe that I would brag to you about. Look at my tribe. Do you have a tribe that you can brag about? How do you get there? Are you just going to drudge along, trial and error, and get there one day? Like most men probably will, but may not, because you're gambling with a cursed planet, a really backwards, dude, the booby traps, even the guys here in Vegas, even myself, bro, even AZD. That's why AZD's evolving. He's perfect for the times, but it's not like, I'm not saying he's ultimate perfection, man. It's just like all of us, we're getting more and more perfect. We're solving the crimes that have been done against us that we've adopted as negative beliefs or limiting. That's what I'm saying. I held myself back with wrestling. And I held myself back with yoga, but then AZD unleashed my yoga. Bro, I became a warrior of real yoga to the world, and I was taking over the industry. And I had no sales experience. That's why I'm saying, guys, if you don't have money, it's the ironic paradox. The guys that have money never want a train game because they got too much to lose. Little babies. They got so much ego around what they got going on. They don't want to tell their world what they're doing. They got to arrange their whole life to go and visit Vegas for a weekend or a week or something, and that's just too much. And it's like, bro, I'm going to a top secret inner circle mastermind I was invited to. It's going to be some deep influence in communication and imagination techniques. They don't really disclose it, so that's why I'm not going to tell you about it. But you'll see the difference when I get back. That's how you tell your people. Whatever, they don't got to know. There's guys that can't come to Vegas because their girlfriends won't let them. I literally was talking to a motherfucker yesterday. I'm like, are you allowed to go to Vegas? And it's a real question. I'm not even busting his balls. I'm actually saying it politely. It would be like, will your girlfriend let go of your leash so that you can go? Is what it would really be. So anyway, guys, I got some phone calls with guys that want to come to Vegas. I think you should want to come to Vegas. When you come to Vegas, you can live here or you can get your own place. Like guy that's coming here with his girlfriend because his girlfriend won't let his leash off. Is going to come and stay with his fucking girlfriend. Now you get 3 or 4 hours in person with AZD every morning. That's dialogue. That's learning. He guides you through exercises. He'll ask you questions. You'll change so much. The true potency of the alchemy of conversation with a top seducer. His ability to hear what you really mean. I'm telling you, it's logic. You're distracted by other cheeseballs who taught whatever they taught, but they sucked with women. You've learned all that head knowledge from people that suck with women. Or you're mismeasuring. You're mismeasuring. You think they were successful. You got to come around AZD, bro. You're missing the code. You may not want to be another AZD. You may not even want to be the best at being a player. But you're selling yourself short and you're leveraging yourself. You're gradually leveraging yourself to one point a girl is going to have your arm locked out in an arm bar. And you're going to get taken or you're going to tap. And you're going to make excuses, and then you're going to get into another relationship with another woman, either lower value so that you can't get leveraged so high, so well, or it's just going to happen again. Or you'll be more guarded and distant, and you won't have true relationship, not the kind that keeps life moving forward. That's what I started this talk with. Your relationship dynamic, is it really conducive to life? I'm not having kids. Not right now, maybe. I can't tell the future. But not right now. I'm not going to have a kid if I'm not planning to have a kid, and I'm not planning to have a kid right now. I'm assuming many of you are probably not planning to have a kid right now. But is your relationship one that moves life forward? Does she obey? Does she follow? Is she righteous under your rule? You can't even contribute to it. Don't even talk about raising a kid as a guy or being a father if your woman is not perfectly 100% under you, because she is going to turn the kid away from you. She's going to fuck your life up, and you're a moron. Just an absolute moron. If you're fucking without a condom, you're an idiot. Just a dumbass. Like, you're stupid. And I hate you. I literally hate the evil in you that would do that. Because unless you got your tubes, your fucking, what do you call it? Vasectomy or whatever. Even then, it's like, but cool. Okay, if you got your vasectomy, I get that. I think that's also kind of weird. But so is wearing a condom. It's all weird. We're on a fucked up planet, bro. But quality, deep relationships that would result in the next generation being better, that they don't have to go through $100,000 of personal development and $150,000 of higher education and blah, 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 to become great. Like, you should be able to raise them. And you probably would do okay not. You would do okay if they were 18 now. The problem is the world will keep evolving so that 18 years from now, what you got to teach them is not what you know now. You'll need to stay with the times. Game keeps you in the times. If you're not with the times, you're not, man. I'll take some questions. I know I got some phone calls that I said I would do at like 9:30. So if they call me, then I'll answer that. But if you guys want to FaceTime real quick, I think that's the greatest thing in the world. Solo, when can you make it here, man? You're delaying. You don't got to delay. Take 2 days off, bro. You deserve it. Take a red-eye overnight flight here. Stay for a morning, an evening, a morning, an evening. Take an overnight back. Very simple. And if you can even stay for that second half day, Solo is dope. View request. That's what I like to see. Yeah. I'm from New York, but I work in the Carolinas. I'm a business owner. What's up, Yogi Chris? Good tapping in with you. Oh, you're not even Solo. Oh, Jesus. Bro, I thought you were some other guy. Man, this whole time I've literally been talking to you as if you were this other guy. And so everything I just did when I was making fun of your voice, it wouldn't be funny. But to him, he'd be cracking up. I expected this darker skinned guy to be like, oh, Yogi Chris. But it was you. What's up, man? Solomon.
Nah, dude. But you were talking about how I've been studying for a long time. You were saying some things.
Yeah, but it's because you have a common story to the other guy. I literally thought you were this guy Alfonso from like North Carolina, I think, a restaurant owner. So it may apply to you if the shoe fits, wear it. But I was referring to another guy the whole time.
For sure. Well, hey, bro, I'm gonna get out. No, you were hitting some points too. Like you said, I was going out to Vegas. But it's like you said, I've been delaying because I've been trying to get out there, just having some financial setbacks. I'm just trying to buy a ticket, bro. As soon as I can afford a ticket, I'm there, man. So, yeah, you're going to see some more of me.
Well, it is tough to come around. It is tough to come around without money. So you can be in Vegas, and AZD may invite you out once for just like getting here. Other than that, it's $100 a night to go out with them. And, to be in person and lecture, obviously you need to be on daily class. It's $47. In person for lecture is dues. You be on weekly dues. That's $1,000 a month. And truly, I mean, yes, it takes money, but I've invested. I've invested a lot, and I continue to invest in AZD, in trainings to this day. And it's a lot. I'm not even going to tell you, but the freedom is worth it. So truly, I tell you, if you want to live the AZD lifestyle, the kind that strong tribe churns out women in your life, or opportunities, and fulfilling long-term multiple relationships. Like it's a matrix that you're going to have to hack like a hacker if you want it to sustain. Otherwise, you just keep building and destroying life, building and destroying life, building and destroying. Not in the way that's like within your control where AZD destroys his organization to rebuild it, but he built the organization, he destroys it to rebuild it. He burns down the forest, but he's the fucking forest ranger. He knows what he's doing. Versus living along, moving along, and something outside of you destroys your life. Like the woman destroys your life. If you don't want that to happen, you gotta do residency. And it can be considered a sales ploy. You can always think of it that way, and it does take money. But residency is what gets you on our cycle of discipline and will help you understand so many of the... I lived with AZD for 4.5 years, bro, including during lockdown where it was like 24/7 I'm at home with him and I'm seeing like... Wow. And we developed from that. So it's the time in between the meetings, the time that's not lecture, the time that's not going out at night. That's where the process becomes more evident in the sense that if you were hanging out with a girl, pretty girl, it was going great, laughing, touching, she's flirting, she's into you, respecting you, and then you turn and say some stupid racist joke that's just out of line, or a retard joke, or you pick your nose, or you fart. It could be just one moment. It's like 2 seconds of extremely low value that would destroy a whole date.
Yeah.
So if you're living life and you're like great student and you're great when you're out, you're great at lecture and you're great when you're out, you're great at lecture and you're great when you're out, what are you doing in between? It's the things in between. It's how you go to sleep. It's how you wake up, your morning process. It's what you do in your workday, your discipline, your schedule, your focus, your ability to manage your state of mind in all the moments in between lecture and going out with AZD. That's what residency will reveal. That's what you need for a wheel, because if you had a wheel that was perfectly round here and perfectly round here, but then it was lopsided or jagged in between, it wouldn't work very well. You need a wheel, that's your day, and it's got to be smooth and round, and the spokes are all sturdy, and that's what the daily process is. And I'm speaking from experience of guys that have come here to Vegas, Josue, Nasto, the residents. Solomon got it better than everybody. But the residents that come and they go home, the ones that adopt the process the most, like Solomon and Monster, those are the best examples of that. They adopt the daily process and they do better when they go back. Other guys, they go back and they atrophy, sometimes even go worse, because they destroy their world with an upgraded tech of the mind, an upgraded communication style, upgraded self-worth. So they're carrying themselves, and it destroys some things that were... And then if they don't hold that, then they lost out what they destroyed and blew away, and they go back to their old habits and they have less. You need a daily process to keep creating this beingness. And that's what I've done ever since the beginning, because I've always been a student. Like, my dad was very strict, military man, Army Ranger, West Point graduate. Then he sends me to all kinds of wrestling trainings where I'm literally away from home for weeks, getting my ass kicked away from home, day after day, morning, wake up at 6 a.m., running, morning session, afternoon session, evening session, or film study, maybe some scrimmages or things like that, but like, national caliber high school wrestlers and shit like that. And so, okay, that's a process. Just do what teacher says. Go to college, do what teacher says. Get into, do what teacher, fully all in with everything. Yoga, do what teacher says. That's why I can have a teacher that I meet once or twice a year and then all year practice what I learned, because just do what teacher says and just whatever. And so, think what you might about that, but I'm also Yogi Chris of IMC Nation. There's a lot of guys trying to make money doing this and come around AZD doing this, and it's just like, I've been here for years and I've seen them come and go. I've seen guys that predated me like Brian Casella go, because they can't handle it. Relationship destroys, was big figure earner, not even throwing that out there, and got the game a little bit. But if you don't stay tapped in with it, because we all got some distractions. You could even be, the closest thing would be a pimp, but since so few are really making it with that, they probably got other jobs outside of pimping to support themselves until, like, there's a few at the top, and then that level of ethics, because you can't really display it. AZD can go on public podcasts and talk about his multiple relationships, as he did 2 days ago, and go in the streets, and the guy takes him in the streets and is recording women, fine women, that he's approaching and being like, would you date this guy? But what if he had 4 other girlfriends? Blah, 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 blah. So it's becoming about, could a pimp do that? So there's a disclosure there, and it's not because the information is so top secret, because AZD's information is top secret too. But on the surface, it's acceptable because it's ethical.
Yeah.
And people will resist it. Yeah, they'll resist it because it's taboo. But when AZD can dialogue with them about it, then it becomes kosher. Now, maybe you be the messenger for that, or I'm not saying whoever's out there that wants to be a pimp or whatever. What I'm saying is that everybody's doing something other than just seducing women. AZD has built his life to the degree because of the pickup and the martial arts and building the women's fitness center and living with his girlfriends for years and then developing Saturday Night Live streams from that and lectures on seduction and then starts teaching it and gradually closes that business down and transitions fully into a seduction artist. Now, he's way beyond that now because the spirituality and the tribal dynamics, and he's a scientist at the highest level. Saying a seduction artist is very, very truncated. That'd be like saying he's a hypnotherapist. He is, but like that's not what he's doing at all. It'd be like saying he's a martial artist. He is, but where's his martial arts dojo? He's teaching the martial arts of social dynamics, how to not get yourself in trouble, how to not get over leveraged, how to handle life, men, bouncers, managers, rank, things like that. That's definitely martial arts because he wins. He's not just bowing out, he's leveraging ahead so that the guy may have authority on him now. Later, he has authority over the guy because of social dynamics. If that's not martial arts, I don't know what is. Like, that's getting, like, whatever. But they would all be wrong labels of what he's doing. Whatever he's doing, he's around his women all the time, or he's teaching us, or he's in the field getting new women. The only exception is the occasional nights when he's doesn't have a girlfriend staying the night and he's by himself overnight. And then you'll see when you have 8, 9, 10, whatever, 20, 50, you're messaging a lot, you're calling a lot, you're studying things that are related to that. Like he's full-time that, and then we are doing something else with our time. So even somebody that has success in the game, you're still taking time off to work your business, do something else. And more we get integrated, but we'll never be able to keep up with AZD in our own evolution, on our own steam. We go to the teacher to get the systems, to get the insights to be accelerated or jumped forward in our understandings, because he's a miner, he's mining the gold, he's an explorer, he's finding how to do this thing and reporting it back to us. And then he's developed a lifestyle process called the AZD process for us to evolve ourselves in our day-to-day, because we got shit that's not related to seduction all the time that we're doing, but we can still run the process because he was there also. He wasn't always full-time with women. Go back in his own history. He was a student of acting with Manu. He had a martial arts dojo and a girlfriend, but that was just it. He didn't know what pickup was. Just living his life, just a dude. Came across pickup maybe around age 30 or so, 29. And then took it from there, and then for whatever reasons, the stars aligned, this and that, whatever. He's 48 now, and he's teaching this stuff. So if you come to Vegas, you have already lived in Vegas, you'll survive, bro. Josiah also moved from Hawaii to Phoenix, moved in our base in Phoenix with 4 other IMC guys when we had 7 bases around the West Coast, like Phoenix, LA, San Jose. We had 7 houses with guys in it. Then, when we all consolidated to Vegas, some guys stayed back. They've dropped off, most of them. And the guys here in Vegas, about half a dozen of them have dropped off, or more. Maybe 6 to 8 of them dropped off. A few more have joined. So now we got like 19 strong here in Vegas, which is still more than ever heard of in history as far as this kind of movement. Josiah is one of those guys that moved from Phoenix and then moved to Vegas with his base and then dropped off after about a month or 2. He's surviving. He's still paying his debts. I message with him about once a week. Pathetic. He's pathetic. But he's on my newsletter watching all the shit. He dropped off. Still paying his debts. He's surviving here in Vegas, lives with his girlfriend. Who, if he's still with her, is older than her.
Paying his debts to IMC or paying his debts that he has personally?
Paying his debts to IMC, to AZD. I don't care about him outside of that. I wouldn't message with the guy once a week for that. Pay your debts back because he signed up for a bunch of camps on partial payments, promising to pay back. Good. You're still loyal to IMC. You're putting out the work. You're streaming. You're talking with guys. You're a messenger of this stuff. You're a testimony of this stuff. Cool. If you need some leverage, you could do this training for partial payment. Keep working. Grow your value. I know what it is to grow your value. to make more money, to hustle and do that. So if the guy falls off, he's not applying the tech actually. Cool. Borrow the money from someone to pay back your debt. You can't, you're just going to drop off. You still got to pay your debt or you're never coming back. So he obviously thinks he's going to come back at some point in the future if he's paying his debt. There's other guys that have debts that drop off. We don't need to necessarily talk about that. I'm just saying that the guy is still surviving in Vegas, probably still thinks he's gaming, probably still thinks he's applying the tech with his relationship. He's dominant over her. He's not. So it's not about just coming to Vegas and surviving. If you're living the IMC lifestyle, you need a process to evolve yourself. Ideally, you live in a base, but that depends on, do the guys want you there? You got to be likable to the tribe. There's different bases, so different groups of guys. A lot of guys don't like me. You can see why. I'm the fucking warbringer. I bring the hammer. I'm very compassionate, bro, but I just don't have time to waste on guys that can't sign up or don't want to sign up. If you just can't sign up, then I got some advice for you. Go and do it. Like, I get it if you just can't. But if you don't do it, then I'm very impatient with those people. And then guys that can do it and just don't get it, I'm very impatient with them too. But I understand I got to get the message across. At the end of the day, I want you to get it, but not at the expense of the next guy getting it. So if the guy can't get it, like, I got to be true to the tribe. So, a lot of guys don't like me, but they still live with me because I make them sharper. They can't slack as much. Maybe. I think they respect AZD, and they respect my role with AZD. If AZD didn't give me rank and didn't give me prestige, I don't think they would respect me. But that's literally the X factor. I actually don't need anything else. There's a lot of things I need to get AZD's blessing. The guys are not measuring those things because they aren't responsible for the tribe the same way I am. And they don't know. They just don't know. And every time somebody tries to take over a duty, they fall on their face. And I tell you, they do well as long as they take my advice. But because they think they know better and maybe they don't like me as much as, they should, then they, think they have their own ideas. That's fine. But they fall on their face. So, they're not measuring the things that are necessary to make the business succeed, like being a hard-nosed salesman, being a guy that just doesn't take no, a guy that doesn't take shit, that's not going to give you cushy, And I've been that, and I've gone through it, and it ends up being a time waster for the guy that could come and do it. I'm more willing to do it on streams because other people are listening. So I am talking to other people, but one-on-one calls and things like that is less, it's a crime to AZD. I'm really just stealing his time. But I have AZD's blessing on how valuable I am, and it's truth to that because he's not a moron, and I've been around for a while. And so the guys will respect me because of AZD's prestige it gives me, but they know to some degree or no degree that being around me is making them better at the AZD process. Because that's all I've been doing. I didn't take over his business because I wanted to make so much money. I do, but it's not like I wasn't seeking to be in control of his business. I was seeking to get his game. I wanted his game. And I just saw, like I said, wrestling, yoga, this and that. Just walk in the teacher's footsteps if you want to know what he knows. It's just obvious. But I think there's other paths. Like Wolf is a lawyer. Obviously, he makes enough money to be able to train with AZD. He's doing well. He's dating different dancers, and he's got other girls that he goes to clubs, nightclubs and stuff because he's a DJ. And so he likes that scene. He can mingle with that scene. But he's a little guy. Little, kind of doughy, El Salvadorian style guy. It's not like... And with feminine mannerisms and whatever, he's learning the game and he's doing well with it and he's finding his own lane with it. Nobody's going to be able to do what Wolf does, or if they do, they'll be his protege. So AZD is the demon king of seduction. It's not a little title. He's the top. He's the apex of Earth when it comes to mating with women. How to do it with character and communication. I want that. I want that power. I like whatever. And I'll get wherever I get with it. I'm living a fulfilling life, bro. I went on a date with one of the finest girls last night, and I brought my brothers with me. I invited everybody. 2 guys came. They just came and ate and watched and did whatever they did. And they don't even need to watch. I'm not that good. I mean, I'm good enough to date that, but, that's just the system. I'm just running the system because AZD took a rest night, and I had a night to do that. And my girl knew about it. When she was here and it was like, here's the girl I met from such and such club, XYZ, might go to dinner, blah, blah, blah. She says, oh, if you go to dinner, here's what you could wear. And then if you guys go out tonight, then here's what you could wear. And then she puts it on hangers and puts it right there. And then she goes. That's dope. So, bro,
Chris,
yeah,
real quick, I got somebody on the call. I
Yeah.
don't know if you can see the people on the call. His name's Rob.
yeah,
But yeah, that's my friend out in Vegas. That's actually my homie.
yeah. What's up, Rob Dog?
I wanted you to talk about, if you have the time. He asked me earlier, just about, what is your opinion on weed?
I just smoked some.
What's that?
I said I just smoked some. It's a really open question. Is there more specific?
Yeah. So do you feel like it is a sin, and do you feel like it is something that is transgressing or could hold somebody back from their connection to God, or do you think that is something permissible with your relationship to God?
Okay, there's three questions there. Is it a sin? Is it holding you back, or is it permissible? The answer to one is it a sin? Sin to me, I take from AZD's definition, is just breaking character. When you break character, you sin against yourself. And that, as within, so without. The kingdom of heaven is within. The Father and I are one. I am a messenger of that. And so if I break character, that's my sin against the Father. Don't break character. And if you do, then you got to learn to forgive and overcome, because a demon made you break character. Why the fuck would you break character unconsciously? Why would you lose consciousness? Now, so that's what sin is to me. I don't think anybody can really tell me what is sin. I mean, obviously, if we go like pedophilia or some shit, like whatever. Back in time, probably somewhere, someone, a 40-year-old man had sex with a 9-year-old girl so that the human race could survive. That's so taboo to even say. I don't think I'd call it pedophilia, though. Well, okay, baby fucking. There's some fucking Illuminati people that... Okay, so that's clearly a sin. It's clearly evil. You can't go in and be like, did you break character? I mean, to that person, maybe they didn't break character. They didn't break character to their god, maybe. Their fucking demon.
Abomination.
They're yeah. But, so maybe there's some things outside. But if we're going to talk about smoking weed, man, get out of my business, is what I'd say to people. Get out of my business. Like... You're way back in the evolution of IMC Nation if we're still asking, and you might be, like, he may have zero exposure to it, but this is basic red pill information of like, get out of my business, I'm not hurting anybody. I mean, you can't reason that I'm hurting anybody. More people die eating fast food when they drive than they do smoking weed when they drive. So go fucking outlaw fast food before you talk to me about it. But that's like basic, you can look up any red pill shit on smoking weed and it should be legalized or whatever. And then whether it's a sin, the last two questions is it permissible or is it holding you back? Yes, to both. Yes, to both. Because it's a mindset. It's permissible if you can do it well, and it's holding you back if you can't. So it's a weakness of character, how the substance is used, and there's really just no way around that. We are scientists and specialists of character development for men. Under AZD's tutelage, that's what it is. It's character development. I mean, if sin is breaking character, then it seems like the most righteous thing is to strengthen your character, fortify your character, give your character integrity, develop it in divine reflection. But that's our philosophy. That's what we're doing here. And he hasn't given me those definitions. That's just me wording it. So if you have a problem with weed, you got a problem with your own character. You got a problem with yourself. And you need purpose. You need direction. You need accountability to a tribe. You need more on the line so that you make the hard decisions of, is too much, is not enough, is should I quit, should I stop, should I go forward, whatever, and not be debating about it inside because you're too chaotic. That's feminine. It's very feminine. You've been hexed and possessed of women, by women, your mother starting with her, and whoever else after her, to be chaotic in your mind about these things, to feel guilt, to argue with yourself, to waste time pacing back and forth in your head about what you should or shouldn't do. When it's really not that big a deal. I understand if you're like in a situation like Batman and like your girlfriend is being held hostage here and then the top guy is held hostage here and which way should you go? And he didn't debate very long, but I don't think you're in that kind of life-threatening situation. You're debating some bullshit. So that's just female behavior. You got to eradicate that because your character is literally born of sin. Sin, out of character. You're not acting like a man. You're out of character. You're born of sin. You're born of the woman. You're born of your woman's identity, of the mother's identity. That's the tech here. That's what AZD teaches. It's one of the pillars of what he's teaching. But there's a whole advanced training with that to overcome the female nature in you. It's called the Chosen. And that's what we're teaching here, man. So you and your friend, I recommend Chosen. And everybody, I recommend get on daily class. You were watching the stream. I hope you liked it. Daily class starts in 8 minutes. I got to change really quick and go out there. AZD's right out there on the other side of this wall. And, you know, to everybody else, residency. If you really want transfer, the daily class is great for motivation and you'll learn a lot. There's just stuff in it. But transformation above data, beyond just data, is coming here in person. And that's what it is, day and night, 3-4 hours in the morning in person with AZD, 3-4 hours in the field with the most beautiful women in America with AZD, and you got to do multiple nights. One night is just enough for a blitz of experience. You need 2 to 14, somewhere in there, 2 to 14 nights out with AZD. We may take a rest night like last night, every week or two, whatever. We still have activities. It's the time in between those meetings, being around the tribe, because these guys, myself included, have trained a lot with AZD. So we've evolved far in our daily process. Being around us is like a dog re-entering the pack. And then Cesar Millan, AZD, comes along and rehabilitates. Anyway, I got to go, everybody. Residency, hit me up. Oh, peace, Solo.